everybody, my name is Isha Gandhi Parekh and I am a wedding planner and event planner, a day of coordinator, a henna artist, and a live Bollywood singer. Today I am here to discuss with you adults only wedding, kid free wedding, no kid wedding, no children wedding, adult reception. Have you heard these terms? I hope you have because this is the new trend. A lot of couples are opting for adult only wedding. And there's nothing wrong with it. At least I don't think so. There's nothing wrong with it. But what is important is how you handle that situation because it is a fairly new concept. So let's face it, not everybody is going to be accepting or welcoming of it. Some people would be upset. Some of your friends may be offended, frustrated. They may even question why you are not inviting their children or kids when you were allowed, or your sister was allowed with her two kids at their wedding. Well, I mean, great, but this is your wedding, and a wedding runs on budget. So, couple of reasons that you may not be inviting people to the wedding or your reception with kids could be the venue doesn't you have limitations. The venue only accommodates, say for example, 200 people and your guest list is 200 people. You can't have kids. You can say that the reception is very formal. It's going to be a very formal event and we cannot have kids running around. You can say that there may be some things happening or some performances happening at the reception that are not kid friendly. So there's few reasons that are valid when you say adult only reception. However, you have to tackle this issue very, very carefully. And for starters, I would say call your friends and family who are going to be at your event or wedding and give them a heads up. So, for example, you have mailed out your invitations. Well, the least you can do is pick up the phone, call them, call your friends and family, and let them know that, hey, you know what? The invites are in the mail. I just wanted to give you a heads up that we are only doing adult only wedding and or reception, and give them a heads up. Talk to them. Another thing you can do is give them 6 to 8 weeks at least so that they can find a sitter. I mean, if your wedding or event is happening in the peak month, so if your wedding or event is happening during Christmas, during Labor Day, during Memorial Day, during Thanksgiving, you know what? People have plans. So if you think you can just call somebody and they will be able to babysit your kids, not really. So, or they would be able to call someone and somebody would be able to babysit their kids, not really. Parents need time to make arrangements. So when you are having an adult-free wedding, you have to think of things like this. And you have to call your friends, let them know that, okay, we're gonna have a kid-free wedding, number one. And number two, I'm giving you a heads up so that you can make arrangements for your kids. So that's number one. Number two, do not, and I can't emphasize this enough, do not sugarcoat this information on your invite. I mean it. Do not sugarcoat this information on your invite. Be explicit. Be direct. Let them know on the invite that it is, use terms like adult reception, adult only, invitation extended to adults only, things like that would let the reader know that kids are not involved or kids are not invited. Why? Because a lot of times, let's face it, when you get an invitation, it's very natural to assume that everybody's invited to the wedding or event. So what do people normally do? They pick up the invite, they look at it, and toss it out. So to minimize the chances of your invite getting tossed out without being read fully, make sure that you explicitly state that it's an adult-only event. So that's number 2. Number 3, would you face opposition? Would your mom be upset? Would your cousin, sister who's coming be upset? Will people be offended? Yes, absolutely. They will be offended. And especially, more consideration needs to be paid to people who are traveling, because it's easy to find help in town than it is to find out of town. So basically, if you have a lot of family coming from out of town, I am not sure if I would really recommend something like adult-only reception, because A, they have to find help, and B, they have to leave their kids with someone they don't trust. So things to consider. Your friends, your family will be frustrated, but if you stand your ground, then you need to stand your ground. Don't make excuses for one set of people and be okay with another set. Be fair. Interestingly, you may even come across people who would actually update the RSVP card themselves. I've seen people do that. People actually look at the RSVP card. It says 2 people. They take a pen, they slash 2, make it 3 or 4, and they send it back. Well, would you accept that? That's your call. That's a call you need to make. If you need to call someone and say, hey, it's only the 2 of you invited, you need to make that difficult call and clarify, because people will update the RSVP on their own, because hey, guess what? My grandmother's here, my mother-in-law's here, my 2 brother-in-laws are here, and they're all coming to your wedding. Well, no, the invitation was only for 2 people. So whether it's adult only or additional guests, make sure that you stand your ground and you let them know that it is only the number of people stated on your RSVP card. So that's number 3. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about is some activities that you can do for the kids. So for example, you do choose to go the adult only way. However, you don't want to take the kids out of the equation completely. What you can do is you can actually hire a few artists. So you can hire a magician, you can hire a face painter, you can have some activities planned, a game room, and that room can be separate from your main reception hall. So basically, when there's an actual formal reception happening, when you go to the other room, the kids are playing, they have their own activities, food can be served separately, and they're just having their own time and they're not interrupting the reception. The only thing there is, you have to hire help. So any helpers that you may need, sitters, you will be the one hiring it, and the parents will not be providing one for you. So that's another alternative. You can have a kids table, you can have a kids room, you can do a movie night. There's lots of ideas. Pinterest is your friend, and so is Instagram. So that is what I really wanted to let you know today and talk to you about, is adult only reception and wedding, because this is a new trend. People are not sure whether it's a good thing to do or not, but there's nothing wrong with it. Just know that if you have to make exceptions, make sure you have a good reason for it, because you don't want to upset a very close friend of yours and then accommodate somebody because you just had to. Just make sure either it's one rule for everybody, or tread your waters carefully. That's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please click the share button below and share this video with your friend or somebody that you know who will find this video useful.